we? Welcome to Fri-Weigh. It's check-in day for a good majority of my clients. Yes, it is Fri-Weigh Weight Loss Live. And it is the last live for 9 days. Yes, I'm going on my holy bobs. So the next live after this is going to be a week on Monday. Well, the next scheduled live after this. Now, I might do an impromptu live next week while I'm away. I'll see how things go. That won't be on Facebook or YouTube, by the way. It will just be on the old TikToks because I will be, what will I be? I'll be on my phone. So I can only do the triple stream sort of thing, or dual stream, whatever you want to flipping call it, while I am, sat in front of a computer. Anyway, there we go. Yes, this is last live for 9 days. We're ramping up into holiday mode. But before then, we've got client check-ins to do. Actually, I was in here 6 a.m. this morning. We were giving it absolute beans on the check-in. So I have been working my way through. I've still got a few to go, obviously. But we've done a good few. I've just been to Ribby Hall, just taught spin, covered a spin class this morning. So I've hit spin up already and doing this live. I'm only on for about 45 minutes, by the way, guys. Again, just because I've got a lot of stuff to do, got a good few bits and pieces to do. So what's going on? Oh no, yeah. So just just on for about 45 minutes just to come and say hello and there we go. Right, let's do top five. Let's do the top five this morning. I'm losing it. Honestly, my head's absolutely, that day before you go away. Well, I don't know if it's the same for everybody, but I'm like, I've been so organised all week. Honestly, I felt like I've been so organised all week. I felt like I've been absolutely on it. And then it's come to today, and I'm like, I've got this to do, I've got that to do, I've got the other to do, I've got this to do. I was like, oh. Anyway, it's all good. I don't care. Whatever happens, I will be on that plane tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Callum, good morning. You're in at number 1, mate, on TikTok. Stefan's in at number 2. Lisa's in at number 3. Sheila's in at number 4. And Ree is in at number 5. You are my top 5 this morning. Thank you very much for jumping straight on the live and coming and saying hello. Amy Lynn, hello. Karen H. Kelly C, good morning. Anna, good morning. This is still a weight loss live, by the way. If you've got any questions, please get them over and I'll do my very best to answer them for you. Amy, good morning. Anna, NSV for me yesterday. I had a couple of compliments. Oh, my weight loss. I'm not from family. We love that. Honestly, we really, really do. Did a little bit of content this week, just on Reels and TikTok. I'm actually sat here going, why have we got so much like a big grey patch here? Has that happened overnight? And then what I think it is I think it's yogurt. Just to be yes, I've got yogurt in my beard. I think it's a combination of yogurt and a bit of grey. Anyway, where was I? Oh, NSVs. Honestly, and your non-scale victories, they're worth more than what the scales say. I said this yesterday actually on a weight loss coaching live. Yeah, when we go on the scales and we see the scales go down, we get a buzz from it. Of course we do. You never get the same buzz from the scales as you do as someone, friend saying, oh, you've lost weight. Just a random comment, that's worth way more than what the scales will ever tell you. It really, really is. So brilliant. And I love to hear it. And I love to hear all your NSVs. My clients post them all the time. And it can be something as very simple as getting a nice compliment. It can be going down a size in clothes. It can be, an extra little going up a belt notch or whatever it is. Your belt's a bit tight. You can pull your belt in a bit tighter. It can be something like, I've talked about this with my NSVs. Now, I used to have loads of anxiety about going anywhere that I didn't know. Especially some like restaurants or pubs or something like that, because I've been known to flat pack a few chairs in my time, And I've also been known to not fit in chairs, especially ones, like my office chair here. Don't get me wrong, my office chair is a big chair here. Anything that's got fixed handles down the side, that is like a 37 stone person's worst nightmare. So it's just, it is what it is. It's, yeah, but those NSV should always be relative to you, basically. And, having that anxiety, it's part of being 37 stone. But I can't actually pinpoint the time when I didn't have that anxiety anymore, but I don't have it anymore. And if I go to a restaurant now and I don't fit in the chair, that is their fault, not my fault. I'm going on holiday tomorrow, not needing to use an extender belt. In fact, not just not needing to use an extender belt, the actual belt that I put on actually having like that much length when you tighten it, And I've noticed that over the years. Though some airlines, the belts are awful. Ryanair definitely cut their belts down. Like when they get frayed or knackered at the end, rather than just replacing the actual belt, they definitely cut their belts down. Because I've been on certain Ryanair flights and I'm like, this is giving me body dysmorphia again because I'm a 38-inch waist and like I'm struggling to fasten this belt. They definitely cut their belts. I don't care what anyone says. Michelle's saying, good morning. Hope you're doing good. My NSV has been able to walk freely again after a fall last week. Never want to go back to where I was. Do you know what, Karen? I can relate to that. And I think that is my biggest NSV. At the start of my weight loss journey, I don't know if yours is relatable to just last week, but no, I know where you've been on your journey because you're one of my clients. But yeah, I think my biggest non-scale victory, very similar to Karen's, is just being able to get out of bed every day and not worrying. Don't get me wrong, I've got some aches, I've got some pains, I'm riddled with arthritis, but just being able to get out of bed every day, wake up in the morning, not worrying, not going to sleep at night and worrying if you will wake up in the morning. Yeah, that's how severe I was. And then when you do wake up, being able to get out of bed, Victoria Foley on YouTube. Hi, wishing you a happy birthday. Wishing you a happy holiday, Victoria Foley. Thank you very much. Very kind of you to say. And then we've got Jay. Now, I didn't realize this. I can actually put on the YouTube, Facebook, I can actually put the comments up. So Jay said, hi, mate. 2 weeks on a deficit, second weighing and 1 pound up, doing something wrong. No, we can't scrutinize our journey over such short periods of time. You're 2 weeks in, right? So I assume you might have lost the first week. You might have gained the second week. What we have to understand is the scales weigh our weight. They don't weigh our fat loss. A calorie deficit only affects fat loss, right? But we have other things that come in and out of the body that affect our weight. We have lots of things that go in and out of the body that affect our weight. Clothes. If you weigh fully clothed or you weigh naked, you will be lighter. But because you can see clothes, you can comprehend it. Is comprehend the right word? Do you know what I mean? You can you go, yeah, well, it's understandable, Neil. If I take a hoodie off and I take my shoes off, I'm going to be lighter. Right. What we need to understand is there's things that go on inside the body, right? We've got little pockets everywhere. Our stomach, small intestine, large intestine, bowel, bladder, kidneys, liver, muscles. They all are little pockets that can hold different things. And, now, as long as we're consistent and our eating is fairly regular, and that's how it, what we do on a day-to-day basis is fairly consistent. The fluctuations shouldn't happen all that often, depending on when you weigh. The closer you weigh together. So if you weigh every single day, you're going to see fluctuations. It is very rare you will weigh the same on a Tuesday as you did on a Monday, the same on a Wednesday as you did on a Tuesday. You might get the odd one where what you weigh on a Wednesday is a Thursday. Likewise, you might get what you weigh on a Tuesday is a Thursday. What you weigh on a Tuesday, might be the same as Friday, right? And then you might get fluctuations in between. The three main things that cause fluctuations is water weight, food weight, and water retention. So water weight is the difference between what goes in here and what comes out when you go for a week. Food weight is the difference between what comes in here and what comes out when you go for a number two. And water retention is just excess water retention. Your body retains about 60% water, but then on top of that, we can have things that hold a little bit of extra water. Now, Jay Varon, what we need to understand is we need to try and justify in our head, if I've been in this calorie deficit and I've done everything right, why have I gained 1 pound? Right? Why is the scales gone 1 pound up from last week? And we can have a little look. Now, I don't know where you live in the country because it's only been the last day or two where it's been very, very warm here. But if you've been down south and it's been warm all week, or where it's been very warm all week, you're probably a bit dehydrated. Even if you've increased your hydration, the heat can cause a little bit of extra swelling, can cause a little bit of dehydration. That will show on the scales. That will show on the scales. So you could have been in a calorie deficit this week and lost 2 pounds of body fat. But if you've gained 3 pounds of water retention because of the heat, the scale's going to show a pound up. Basically, we can't scrutinize the scales over short periods of time. When we need to delve into things and ask ourselves, are we doing something wrong, is if you are maintaining or worse for 4, 5, 6 weeks in a row. So, for example, if you've weighed today, we're 3 weeks into June. If you currently weigh the same today, the same as May, and there's no real justification for it. So if you weigh the same today as you did the middle of May, and you're like, yeah, I've not really tracked my calories that good. My steps have massively dropped. I've not really worked on a few of the different bits and pieces. I've been on holiday. I've had a weekend away. Whatever reason. That's a justifiable reason to why the scales maybe haven't quite done what they want. But if you're literally sat here now going, I have been in a calorie deficit week in, week out. I've done my steps, I've done my movement, I've tracked my calories, I've done that for the last 5, 6 weeks. Yeah, I might have had a loss, then again, then a loss, then again, then a loss. We've had this fluctuation, right? And if that is the case, right, you're not doing what you should be doing. You might think you're in a calorie, but you're not, right? It really is that simple. Anyone here now, if you're weighing the same as you did 3 months ago, I don't care what your app says. I don't care what you tell me. You haven't been in a calorie deficit. If you consume less energy than you burn, right, your energy stores go down, right? And we can make that relatable to anything. Yeah, I always use different analogies. Petrol in your car. If you burn 60 quid's worth of petrol and you only put 40 quid back in, you've got less petrol in your tank, right, at the end of the day. So I wake up in the morning, start driving my car, it's full of petrol, 60 quid. Drive it around all day till it's empty. Just before I go home, I stop at the petrol station, I put 40 quid and I get home. I've lost 20 pounds in money, not in weight, obviously. I've lost, you've got less energy at the end than you started with. That's what a calorie deficit is, right? You don't have 60 pounds of petrol in your car, right? Drive it around all day till empty, put 30 quid back in it, and then suddenly you've got 60 pounds in your tank. Doesn't make sense, does it? Right? And that's what you're basically saying. If you say I've been in a calorie deficit for 3 months and I've not lost any body fat, right? You're basically telling me that you can burn energy all day long, right? And you replace that energy with less energy, but it's not less energy on the scales. No, nonsense, right? What we need to find out is what you've done wrong. So Jay Varon, it's too early to look into it, mate. You've just got to, we don't judge our journey on a single weigh-in. We judge it on what we do over time, and you've been at it 2 weeks, mate. I know it's a little bit frustrating, and these are little things like this that can make us go off kilter, chuck everything in the bin and stuff like that. But no, now come back to me in a month and go, yeah, I was a pound up. I was a pound up at the end of June, end of July. I'm still a pound up. The scales haven't moved. Right, well, you're not in a calorie deficit then. And then we need to find out why. Yeah. MMA and oats. I'm 100 kilograms, 6'3", train a few times a week, but nothing serious as I have chronic illnesses. That means I don't recover very well. 200 grams of protein per day and eating about 2,800 calories on a cut. Stop with all that bodybuilding bullshit. And it is, right? It's absolutely, stop saying I'm cutting and bulking and tracking. Right. What is your goal? What is your goal? Right, so I've lost 1.5 kilograms since Monday. When should I check if the deficit is too low, e.g. factoring in initial water weight loss and stuff like that? All right, we'll get into that. But first of all, you need a goal. Is your goal weight loss? Is your goal muscle building? Right? Now, unless you decide to be a competitive bodybuilder, stop with all this bulking and cutting crap that that they go on about. And don't get me wrong, if you are a bodybuilder, if that is your hobby, that's your sport, that's fine. But I do see a lot of people that just want to go on a weight loss journey and they're going to the gym and lifting weights, which is great, but they're getting wrapped up in this bulking and cutting and this, that, and the other. You know, forget that, right? Your goal's weight loss. Can you build muscle while losing weight? Yeah, right? But you need to focus on one thing. Now, I always say, stop tracking macros. You don't need to, right? This one, it's actually been debunked a little bit recently. Some brand new research out. So we've always been led to believe that to build muscle, you need a pound, you need a gram of protein per pound of body weight. If you're on a weight loss journey, you'd eat a gram of protein per pound of goal weight. So if you're 400 pounds, you don't need to eat 400 grams of protein. If your goal weight's 180 pounds, you'd eat 180 grams of protein, right? Now, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with having different targets to aim for, but it gets too confusing, especially if you're at the start of your journey. Let's simplify things. A year down the line, when you've absolutely boxed off calorie count and you can do it with your eyes closed, right? You can subconsciously control your own calories and this, that, and the other. If you then want to introduce other little things, fine. You don't need it at the beginning. All right? This is just my own personal views, you know. So let's not use all these analogies because you'll get wrapped up in this. You know, I'm on a cut. I'm on this. I'm on that. I'm on the other. I can't tracking my calories. I'm eating my calories, but I'm not eating my protein and this, that, and the other. Now, how do you know if your deficit is too severe at the start of your journey? Basically, you're probably going to be trial and error over a couple of different months, to be honest with you. So what I recommend you do is if you don't want me to calculate your calories, you're going to use a free online calorie calculator that's just going to give you a rough ballpark figure, right? What you need to do is you need to use your free online calorie calculator, whichever you're going to use, right? You're going to weigh yourself. You're going to eat that amount of calories for 2 weeks, right? You need to be consistent with this. You're going to do it for 2 weeks. Doesn't matter what you eat, you're going to eat that amount of calories for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, you're then going to weigh yourself. So let's say you start today, right? And you're going to eat 2,500 calories a day. Start today. In 2 weeks' time, weigh yourself. That is now your start weight. Not this weight today, the weight in 2 weeks' time. Because at the start of what we call a whoosh, and MMA Notes has covered that, it's put the deficit's too low, e.g. initial water weight loss. So when we start a weight loss journey, we get what's called the little whoosh effect. And that's where our water weight, food weight, average water weight, average food weight, and some water retention disperses from the body because you're eating a bit less, you might be drinking a bit more hydration, the body doesn't need to hold on as much water, eating slightly healthier, not as many refined carbs that can hold on to water in the body and stuff like that. So we get a whoosh. So first couple of weeks, you might drop 5 or 6 pounds, right? Have you lost 5 or 6 pounds in body fat? No, you might have lost 5 pounds in body fat, 5 pounds in water weight, food weight, water retention, pound in body fat. You might have lost 3 pounds in water weight, food weight, 2-3 pounds. We don't know at the start. We can assume when we get a whoosh and we can guesstimate what our calorie deficit is, so we can kind of work it out. If you're on plan with me, I'm very good at calculating calories. So an online calorie calculator, your calories are going to be 50-60% in that region. I calculate calories going to be 90-95%. They're going to be in that region, right? You're never going to really get them any more accurate than what I would. So you don't need to do all this trial and error stuff. I give you calories, that's when you eat them. And if on a rare occurrence my calories calculations aren't right, which hasn't happened for probably about 2 years now. In fact, I'll be honest with you, I don't think they've ever been wrong, but I've not adjusted anyone's calories for 2 years. I've had clients adjust their own. I've never changed them because they're always spot on. So after 2 weeks, that is then your start weight. So the whoosh is gone. Now, if you're being consistent, what we should predominantly see is fat loss. And then it's just a case of how much body fat is sustainable for you to lose over a period of time. So in 2 weeks' time, after that initial whoosh is gone, weigh yourself. What's the loss? 3 pounds. Right. Could there be a little fluctuation in there? There always is going to be. But we can assume that the 3 pound loss is fat loss. 3 pounds of fat loss is 10,500 calories. right? Divide that by 2 because you've weighed every 2 weeks. That suggests to us you're in a 5,250 calorie deficit a week. That is about £1.5 of fat loss, right? We know that, £3 over 2 weeks, right about 2. For MMA and Oates there, who's 100 kg, so it's £220, 6'3", fine. And he sounds like he's got a decent level of movement. It says he trains, nothing too serious because of some illnesses, but it sounds like his movement's all right. I don't know what his step count is, but so. But for £1.5 at 220, you're not a million miles away. Yeah. Now, if you're like, no, I'm just happy losing £1 a week, well, then you can add some calories in. So you can add 3,500 in over the 2 weeks. So 1,750 a week. Now, if you weigh after 2 weeks and you've lost half a pound, you're eating too many calories. If you weigh after 2 weeks and you've lost £6, right, you're eating too few. So it's just a little bit of trial and error. So adjust your calories, eat those for the next 2 weeks. If the calories are going to go up or down, to be fair, but if they're going to go up, we need to assume that eating a few more calories is also going to increase the food weight a little bit. So you can get what we call a slight reverse whoosh. But still, you're not going to up them by, you wouldn't up them over a week by 4,000, right? Even if you increase them by 1,000, 150 a day, that shouldn't affect things. Then weigh yourself, see where they're at. So just a little bit of trial and error, a little bit of tweaking, right? Followed you for about a month and really enjoyed the videos and lives. Thank you very much for the kind words. Lose 5 kilograms. So if you only want to lose 5 kgs, £12, right? And really, if that is your goal to lose £12, I would aim to lose that. You're 100 kg, you're 6'3". And if your aim is to go from £220 to £208, I'd just do it nice and steadily over a couple of months. Just do it nice. You don't need a big calorie deficit for that. Right, let me scan up and see what's going on the old TikToks. Neil, I've just got back from the all-inclusive and I've put on 19 pounds. That must be a record. Nope, I can beat it. I don't know if any of my clients can beat it. I did 30. That's 2 weeks. Did you say 2 weeks? How long did you? I don't know how long you've been on holiday for. So I went on a 2-week all-inclusive to Mexico in May 2017 and I was 30 pounds heavier in 2 weeks. 19, yeah, I mean, look, when we go on holiday and we gain weight, we have to understand that, a big chunk, and it is the main chunk. So Lucy there's gained 19 pounds on an all-inclusive holiday. Is that 19 pounds of body fat? No. From my own experience, about 70% of any holiday weight gain is normally excess food weight, excess water retention. The rest would be body fat. So if we look at Lucy there and we do times 0.7, we can assume that Lucy is probably about 13 pounds up. The bigger the number of the gain, the less that can drop down. I would guesstimate, Lucy, you could actually be around 50-50. So still, I'd say 10, maybe 11 pounds of that 19 pound gain is water weight, food weight, water retention. That'll be gone, right? Do we have to accept that 7 or 8 pounds of it is body fat? Yeah, it is. But you get your head down, that can be gone in 3 or 4 weeks, and I hope you've had a great time. Right, let me scan down and see what is going on. Joan on Facebook. How do I work out my calorie deficit? I can actually put the links in somewhere. Let me just go on. You can basically join my community. That is the best way you're going to get your calories. It's not free. I'm not going to sit here and say it's free. And I'm not going to sit here and say, I'll work out your calories if you sign up to my email or if you do this, or I'm just going to give you a free online calorie calculator. From what I've seen from a lot of people that give free online calorie calculations online, they're not worth the paper they're written on. They give you a bit of a false number, if I'm being honest with you. And they do that on purpose because then they want you to come back and go, well, you're giving me my calories, but my calories don't work. Anyway, Facebook, YouTube, I'm putting the link in now. And I'm putting the link on the screen. I know you might not be able to click on the link on the screen, but you might be able to copy and paste it, or you can see my website on there. And yeah, if you come and join my community, basically, there is a link in my link tree. So whether you're on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, get into my profile, click on my link tree. It literally says linktree/real lost bars. Click on that, join the community, use code welcome. It's literally £5 for your first month. Right, it's no contract, you can cancel any time. So the most it ever needs to cost you is £5, and I give you a full calorie breakdown. All right, so you'll get when I say a full calorie breakdown, you'll get to understand what your metabolism is, you'll get to understand what your maintenance calories are, and you'll get your calorie deficit. So whereas MMA and oats there was like, how do I know if I'm none of that with me? The calories I give you will be right. They'll be spot on. All you need to do is get your head into the game and start doing your best to stick to them. Alongside that, you'll also get a guide to bossing your weight loss, which basically breaks down my philosophies of how you should challenge your weight loss journey. And then you get a month's access for your £5 to the community. We've got weight loss coaching lives, we've got Zoom sessions, we've got private WhatsApp groups, we've got a private Facebook group. There's loads of help and support in the community. It is worth £5 of anyone's money to come in. It's worth £5 just to get your calories calculated by someone that knows what they're doing, without any hidden intentions to give you a false reading, as it were. And like I say, you're not tied in. If you just come in and get your calories and want to cancel a day later, no issues, right? I'm hoping when you come in, you'll be like, do you know what? I like this. This is really going to help me on my weight loss journey, and you stick around, but that's entirely up to you. Let me scan down and see what I'm missing on the old TikToks. The other day I said I hadn't lost in 2 weeks, lost 3.5. You was right. And this is what can happen. You know, we can get, so when I talked then about the whoosh effect at the start of your weight loss journey, where we can get quite a big drop the first couple of weeks and then it sort of evens out. Now, don't get me wrong, even if you're being consistent, every now and then you're going to get the odd weigh in where you get what I call a false positive or a false negative. So a false positive is where, you know, I've been in a calorie deficit for 2 weeks, 3,500 calories a week. That should be 2 pounds of body fat. The scale showed £4 loss, right? That is what we call a bit of a false positive. You've not lost 4 pounds of body fat because you've been in a 7,000 calorie deficit. So you've lost 2 pounds, and for whatever reason, you've reduced a bit of food weight or water weight in your system. And what we need to understand with that is if I get a big loss, it is quite common that the next time I get on the scales, they'll correct themselves a little bit. So I might just see a pound. And again, this is why we need to look at things over time. Likewise, It's Me came on the other day or last week and said, I've not lost for, how was it? I said I haven't lost in 2 weeks, right? And there's just something counterbalancing the scales. So when you get on the scale, like, I've done calorie deficit, been absolutely spot on with it, I've maintained. That is what we call a false negative, because you have lost body fat, but something else is counterbalancing those losses. So you can't see those on the, you're not seeing the losses on the scales. But if you stay consistent, the things that are counterbalancing the scales will eventually go, and then your fat loss will show. And like I say, maybe a little bit more, you don't know. So it is about what we do over time. I had a client this morning that checked in. It was a 4th check-in with me. So if you feel you need more support, by the way, than just coming into my one-to-one plan, just coming into my community, you can actually sign up for a one-to-one plan. You can have me directly as your weight loss coach, right? So, if you're on my one-to-one plan, it's $29.99 a month. You get one-to-one check-ins with me. You send all your bits over. I can keep an eye on things. I can keep tabs on things. And if things aren't quite going the way you want, I'm here to help you. And I had a client this morning. She's had 3 good losses in a row. She's had her whoosh, which was £6. She then, checking 2, lost another 2. So like I say, things calm down, and then we start to really just see fat loss. Next week, another 2. So she lost 6, 8, 6. She's lost 6, 2, 2. So in total over 3 weeks, she's lost £10. This check-in she's maintained, and she was a little bit not downbeat. She said it was expected. We've had a busy couple of weeks. Life's took over a little bit. Blah 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 blah. There's maybe been a few more takeaways. Not quite been as accurate with my tracking, so I've maintained. And I'm literally like, look, we need to accept there's no such thing as a perfect weight loss journey. Every now and then, life will take over. You'll end up with a busier week or 2 where things don't quite run as smooth as you want them to. A few more takeaways, maybe a couple of social events or one social event. That's going to happen every now and then. And when that does happen, you might get a maintain on the scales. You might even get a little gain on the scales. It's part of the journey. We've never been educated on this. We've never been taught to understand this. We just think weight loss should be lost, 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 lost. It just genuinely doesn't work like that. Now, if life's taken over week in, week out, then that's when you need to look at your lifestyle and you need to ask yourself what's more important. But, if 1 week out of 8 just gets a little bit hectic, if one check-in out of 4 is a maintain and the other 3 are good losses, you're still making great progress. And this client, she might have had a maintain, but she's still £10 down in 8 weeks. And if we divide the weight you've lost by the number of weeks, if that is around that 1 or more, you're doing great. And she's at 1.2, 1.3. Now, if that client maintains next time, and then we see a bump on the scales the time after, it could be because of life taking over a little bit. But basically, life shouldn't take over all the time. If you're literally sat there now and you're just like, well, it's just one thing after another, we start to make excuses, right? Well, I've got this next. Don't be wrong. Times a year can be busier. And if 1 week it's work, next week it's your kids, then it's because you've got an event on, then it's work again, then your kids, then a holiday, then an event, it can't work like that. If you want to lose weight, something's got to give somewhere. Now, again, one of my big philosophies for weight loss, we still need to enjoy life while losing weight, but there has to be some compromise. There has to be some balance. I had someone last week ask, can you drink alcohol? Well, no, they asked, what do you do when the weather's nice and your mates just want to go on the smash all the time? You say no. Do you say no all the time? No, right? But it's going to be very, very hard to go on the smash all the time, week in, week out, and have a successful weight loss journey. Can you drink alcohol and lose body fat? Of course you can. Can you enjoy some events and have a successful? Of course you can. Can you enjoy a holiday? Like Lucy's been there. She's been all inclusive. She doesn't want to see another pina colada again. She's gained 19 pounds in weight. She hasn't gained 19 pounds in fat. She's probably 11, 12 pounds up in weight, 7 pounds up in fat. The actual food weight, water weight, that can be gone in a few days. Bang, gone, right? At Christmas, I weighed myself New Year's Day. I weighed myself on the 2nd because I kind of felt New Year's Day might have been a bit of a false negative, but it wasn't. And I lost 6, 7 pounds overnight. That can happen, right? Because I ate a lot less on New Year's Day compared to New Year's Eve. And I've just flushed a lot out of my system. You can do that in 24 hours, right? But life can't be taken over week in, week out. Then we've got to look at things and go, right, if this is the case, and if you want to go on the smash every weekend and that's your priority over weight loss, just be honest with yourself and say, weight loss isn't my priority. I've done it for years. I've wanted to lose weight from being a kid, right? I don't think there's a day didn't go by where I thought about my weight and how I'd love to be lighter. But I did spend, don't get me wrong, I had a lot of issues, food addict, all this, that, and the other. But I have to be honest with myself, for a lot of the time, going out, getting hammered was more important than weight loss. And I had to flip my mentality. And, from 2014, I'm not saying this has been the case week in, week out, because I've had little blips here and there. I've had little moments, and I will have again in the future. But overall, my weight loss journey and trying to look after me has been more important than the life I used to live. And that's why I can sit here now and I'm 270 pounds down, right? Lost half my body weight, fit, healthy, corrected a lot of my health issues because it's just about prioritizing, and it can be hard to get that balance at times. It really, really can. I used to go to the pub all the time. I used to get smashed all the time. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm not, And I had to do that. In the first 12 months of my weight loss journey, I lost 10 stone. In the first 12 months of my weight loss journey, did I get drunk? Yep. Right? But the previous 12 months, did I get drunk? Yeah, probably 2, 3 times a week, smashed. Right? On my weight loss journey, I would probably still have fingers left if I counted the amount of times I got drunk compared to what I used to. I could probably count it on get 2 hands out and I'd probably still have a couple of fingers left. Those are the compromises. And some people might see that as a sacrifice. If you do see doing something like that as oh God, what, I can only go out once a month, right? If that, right? If you see that as a sacrifice, then going out and getting hammered is more important than your weight loss journey. Again, you've got to, where are your priorities at? It wasn't for me. Faye, morning all. Good morning, Faye. I've had my first gain since January. Michelle, I think through your situation at the moment, you're going to panic a little bit with the scales. And, what you need to understand is, you've not been moving as much. You've probably had some boredom eating. I'm not going to go into any details with Michelle. She's one of my clients. And I'll do you check it. I know you've checked in. We'll have a look at it. But we can't. Now, look, at the end of the day, you're going to commit, if you gain next time and the time after that, you're going to start convincing yourself you can't lose weight without the aid. I know you can. I've got the data. I've got your progress sheets for the couple of years we've worked together, right? I've seen you smash your weight loss journey without any outside intervention. So we know you can do that. You just need to convince this that you can do that. Yeah. 158 pounds. Is 0.8 of a pound a healthy amount to lose a week? Yeah. I mean, it depends where you are. 158 pounds. Absolutely. Anyone for me that's at 158 pounds. So you're just a smidge over 11 stone. Half a pound a week. 0.5 of a pound a week is fine. Right? If you're trying to lose half a pound a week, you're not punishing yourself with calories. You're not having to punish yourself with movement. The lighter we are, weight loss, fat loss does get a little bit trickier because there's less margin for error, right? But just think about it. Even if you wanted to get to 10 stone, right? If you lose half a pound a week from now until Christmas, you're going to be well in the 10 stone marker. And like I say, not only are you going to be well in the 10 stone marker, you're going to be there without battering yourself to get there, right? 250 calorie a day deficit, whatever weight you are, isn't a ridiculous amount to be cutting out. Yeah. So yeah, I'd be happy with that. Absolutely, I would. My movement is really low, and not being at work doesn't help. I've been sticking to my calories. Yeah. So again, it could just be the weather's being hot. If you are genuinely on your calories, we know that if you see a gain on the scales, there's some outside influence going on. It's an increase of water weight, food weight, or water retention. What it is, if you stuck to your calories, we can assume it's not food weight. So, but are your calories roughly the same? Have a little look through your through your NutriCheck, right? What's your sugar intake like this week compared to last week? You might be in control of your calories, but have you changed anything? Are you consuming a few more refined carbs this week than last week? Yeah. I'm not quite as on it with the fruits and veggies. I have snuck in a couple of biscuits more. Nothing wrong with doing that, but the more refined carbs we eat, if we change from what we were eating, carbohydrates store water in the body. It's a natural process. It's not something we should be ultimately trying to delve into it. I'm not stressing over it. I didn't think you would, Michelle. I think your mindset around weight loss is decent. I just think sometimes you've just struggled with that consistency a little bit. And again, priorities. Your priority at the moment isn't really weight loss. It's recovery. Right. 2 minutes, guys, and then I am mooching. I've lost 2 stone and not tracked, but maybe I need to, but I just can't track. You don't need to track calories to lose weight. You need to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight, but you can put yourself in a calorie deficit without losing weight. How do you think people lose weight doing Slimming World, doing ketogenic diets? They're in a calorie deficit, but they're not tracking calories. It's just because the weight loss method they've chosen is a weight loss method that for the majority of people will reduce their calorie consumption enough to make them consume less calories than they burn. The main issue with those sorts of diets is they tend to be overly restrictive, and you're always shooting in the dark. You never know what's going on. You never know what deficit you're in. Is it is the deficit too restrictive, or is the actual method restrictive? So if you go on the keto diet, right, and let's say you burn 2,500 calories in a day, by not eating carbohydrates, most people reduce their calorie intake by half. So if you were eating 2,500 calories a day, or maybe a bit more than that because you've been gaining weight, right, when you go on a keto diet, you probably start eating 1,500 calories a day. So a ketogenic diet is restrictive in two ways. Number one, because it puts you in too big a deficit. And number two, because it limits our favorite macronutrient, right? And there's no reason to limit that macronutrient. Yeah. So, you're going to feel overly restricted because it's going to limit your food choice. And you're going to feel overly restricted because you're consuming too fewer calories. Double over restriction, you're going to hit that weight loss brick wall way before you get to your goal. Yeah. Now, why do you say, maybe I need to, but I just can't track calories? Yeah, you can. If you've ever tried to track calories in the past and you've failed at it, it's because like anything, you've done it wrong. You follow my methods of tracking calories, and don't get me wrong, I've had clients that are inconsistent, right, with tracking their calories. And they're not inconsistent with tracking their calories because they can't actually track calories. When they take my philosophies on board and look at the way I do things, and they use something like NutriCheck, they can track calories. Do I get clients that struggle with consistently tracking calories where, they haven't got gaps everywhere, they're fully accountable, they're not missing things? Yeah, but that's not the fact that they can't track calories. That is the fact that, and that might be your issue, that is the fact that, they're just rubbish at being consistent with doing what we need to do, But again, following my philosophies around tracking calories, it will improve your consistency. Yeah. Your meal ideas have been so helpful to supporting my calorie deficit and keeping me full for longer. Not a problem at all. I put a lot of meal ideas, quick, simple, grabbing bits and pieces from supermarkets. A lot of Aldi stuff's cost effective on my Instagram and Facebook page. So if you don't follow me on Instagram or Facebook, get over there. TikTok's a video platform. You can put pictures on TikTok. I tend not to. Maybe I should start doing it, but I tend not to. But maybe I should do meal ideas of the week on TikTok where I put a few different pictures together sort of thing. But Instagram, Facebook, head over there. I post quick, simple, easy calorie control for anybody, right? And you can just adjust portion size really for your calories. But for most people, I try and put meals on that are between 500 and 700 calories. And whatever your calorie allowance is, you should be able to consume between 500 and 700 calories for at least one main meal a day. If you can't, you're over-restricting yourself and you probably need a better calorie allowance. Right, you lovely people, I'm out of here. If you have asked a question, I'm so sorry I've not answered it. I can't get through them all. That is me for 9 days. My next live, make sure you give me a follow. I come live pretty much every single day, Monday to Friday, on TikTok, on Facebook, on YouTube, talking about weight loss. And if I can answer your questions and help you out, I will. But I'm off on my holly bobs. So we are done for a week. Like I say, next week, if I've got time, I'll see how things go. I might jump on. I might come and do a little impromptu live just to come and say hello. It will just be on TikTok because I won't be on my Facebook or YouTube because I won't have my computer. Well, I'm taking my laptop, but I haven't got the dual stream set up on there. So it will just be on TikTok. So make sure you follow me on TikTok. And even though I'm not here, still boss your weight loss. I know a lot of you guys look at me for accountability, look at me for support, but you can do this for a week on your own. Use the community for that accountability, for that support. I'm going to try and get some content out there. I've got a new recipe coming on YouTube. I've got a podcast coming on YouTube as well next week. I've got a Worth the Calories out today. And I'm going to try and schedule some posts. And I'm going to put a few fun posts on next week. So I'm not working, but I might do some guess the calorie posts. So if I'm out and about having a meal, whatever I'm having, I'll try and take some pictures and I'll do maybe a couple of, right, this is my full English breakfast. This is my pizza. This is my paella or my tapas or whatever it is. because you'll just get those comments. Oh, as if you go to Spain and don't just eat Spanish food. No, I go to Spain because it's €2 a pint and it's 35 degrees guaranteed, and I've got a pool and I've got air conditioning. I couldn't give, call me uncultured if you want to. If I want to eat a carbonara or a full English breakfast or a curry in Spain, I don't care. Just the same as I'm in the UK and I don't just eat roast beef dinners or fish and chips. No, I will have lasagna. I will have a curry. Same mentality. Anyway, there we go. So I'm off on my holiday. So I'll post a few bits and pieces that I'm eating. We'll do maybe a few guested calories over the week. And I'll be back before you know it. I will be back a week on Monday, 8:30 a.m. So yeah, just make sure you boss your weight loss while I'm away. Oh, that's the TikTok side of Facebook, YouTube. Same thing. Boss your weight loss while I'm away.